Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. So I don't know about you, but I have been watching a lot of Olympics over the past couple of weeks. And, I'm not even a sports person. Like, I don't even like sports usually, but I really love the Olympics. So I've been watching a lot of it. And there are just a few lessons that I feel like keep showing up in these Olympics and from the Olympians that I think could be helpful, at least for me. And I'm hoping for you as well. And so I wanted to share those with you. And so the first one is really about the difference between pressure versus stress. And so I was watching an interview with the Olympic swimmer Caleb Dressel, and he said something to the effect of, well, the pressure is always there. It's up to me whether or not I turn that into stress. And when I turn it into stress, then I have problems. And I thought, well, that's just such an interesting distinction and one that I think that I could at least use a lot of the time. And that is really understanding that like there are pressures around us all the time, right? We all have pressures in life. And no, we're not all like trying to win a gold, but we've got pressures in our own lives, right? And pressure and stress are different, right? Pressure is something that's often, exterior, although sometimes, of course, we have internal pressures. And how we react to it, that is within our control, right? So the pressure may not be within our control, but how we react to it is. Something that my mom always told me was the only things we can control are our own actions and reactions. And I repeat this to my kids ad nauseum, and I'm sure they hate it, but I really think it's true, right? We get to control our actions and reactions, and that's pretty much it. Like the rest of the world isn't really within our control. And so given that, the next time pressure shows up for you, how will you react, right? What will you do? And I know that for me, one thing that has really helped over the years is to have some sort of a mantra or something that I say to myself when things get stressful or when the pressure is starting to rise that helps kind of bring me back into control. And so I remember when my kids were really little, I used to say when things were just like the pressure was boiling, say, okay, these are problems we can solve, right? And I said it just as much to myself as to everyone else. It's kind of morphed over the years. Now I say something similar to, I can only move forward, right? So what can I do about this? Because I can only move forward. So think about, when you are feeling that pressure rise, what can you do to help limit the stress so that you can act, in accordance with what you need to do and what's right for you? Which brings us on to the next lesson, which we're going to learn from Simone Biles, right? She is an amazing human, and she made a decision that a lot of people didn't agree with, and she got a lot of flack for over these Olympic Games, right? She pulled herself out because of her own mental health, right? And that she wanted to take care of herself. She wasn't on her game, and so she pulled herself out. And so I think what we can learn from her, other than the fact that she is an amazing role model, is that we know ourselves best, right? Nobody knows you but you. We tell things to other people, but really you're the person who knows yourself best, right? And so you know when something is not right, right? You know when you've stayed in a job too long, or maybe a relationship. You know when you're working too hard and you're about to burn out. You know when you need rest. And so are you going to listen to those feelings and do something about them? Or are you going to try to suppress and ignore them, right? Which is probably going to be hurtful to you in the end. So I think what we can really take, or what I'm taking away from this, everything that happened with Simone Biles is one, her incredible strength, her ability to know herself, and her ability to actually make decisions based on what she knows about herself, even though she knew that those would not be handled well by a lot of people. So should you listen and make decisions that support that voice that you hear that tells you what you know about yourself? Yes. Will everybody always like those decisions? No. And that is okay, right? And then the last thing that I'm taking from the Olympics doesn't come from a particular Olympian. It comes from just kind of this feeling that I had while I was watching all of them, right? When they're up there on the diving board about to dive, or when they're standing there at the running blocks about to start a race, and they look so poised, right? And we're thinking, how? Like, are they nervous, right? I would be nervous. And I just kept thinking this one thing going through my mind. It's anxiety reappraisal. It's anxiety reappraisal. And so if you don't know what anxiety reappraisal is, it's this idea that nervousness, anxiety, and excitement are actually two sides of the same coin, right? They feel very similarly in our bodies, right? When we're nervous or anxious, or when we're excited, our heart starts beating really fast, and maybe our palms get sweaty, and butterflies might be in our stomach. These are the same physical feelings. And so it's not a huge mental leap from anxiety to excitement. And I just kept wondering, I wonder if that's what they're doing, right? Because anxiety, it's, typically a negative emotion. We're thinking about all the things that could go wrong. And excitement, it's a positive emotion. We're thinking about how things are going to go right, but we have those same physical symptoms. So the next time you're in a situation where you're feeling really, really anxious and those butterflies are going and your heart is racing, try telling yourself, I'm just really excited for what happens next. And I know it sounds very simple, like mind trickery, but a lot of the things we do to get ourselves to do the things we want are about mind trickery, anyways. It's about harnessing that mind trickery for good. And so this is one that you can use as well, anxiety reappraisal, to essentially turn that anxiety that you're feeling into excitement. So for me, these are the three big lessons that I learned from the Olympics. I'm not typically a sports person, but I do love the Olympics, and these were my big takeaways. What did you learn? Drop something in the comments and let me know. If you watch the Olympics as well, is there any kind of insights you had, something that you learned that you might like to share with me or with the rest of us?